in the nosebleeds. All I do is sing that shout. And then the future in me screaming out loud. But the thing is, I'm not gonna catch up. I ain't gonna know music soon. And I know all is cool. Finger that you 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 finger.
I was sick of playing it, mate, actually, saying the truth. I don't know, that's 8 months, getting a bit pissed off. We sort of met up in the secondary school, St. Pete's, St. Paul's rather, and we just fucked about. Well, we didn't have a band together, you know, we were just mates then. When we were about 15, 3 years ago, just thought, you know, we'll set up a group and have a laugh. It was just me and Eddie in the band then, and this other lad in the same class, Phil McGuinness. And you know, we started it up. The bass player was another lad, Steve Holmes, that just didn't play the bass, he just stood there and, you know, had it in his hand. Anyway, just started it off, didn't do any gigs, just fucked about in our back kitchen, you know, just playing. Rough as fuck. I couldn't play, none of us could play.
What kind of stuff was it?
Beatles, just on Beatles numbers, you know, other people's numbers. Couldn't think up of one of our own, you know. Too late. You just done it for something to do, you know, at night.
How did you get from like doing the Beatles copies of Beatles songs? I mean, that was like a lot of your own material, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, before Vinnie Riley joined, we had another lead guitarist, Ian Gray. We fucked him off. It was too much of a pain in the ass. And then we started. What we used to do, we rehearsed in this lad's bedroom for about 6 months. You know, did fuck all. That was about a year and a half, 2 years ago, just before we met Riley. And we sort of got a set together now, and you know, 60 minutes. But it was shit, you know. When you look back on it, all the music that we used to do wasn't that good. But we sort of learned how to play our instruments in that bedroom. You know, got confident, like. Anyway, fucked him off. And we started doing gigs, you know, with this guitarist. Started doing a couple of pub gigs, but we only lasted about 3 minutes, you know. Got booed off, you know, because we just turned everything up. You know, we were all pissed. That's all we did. Anyway, we got rid of him, and we met Vinnie Fan, and this Steve Tate. They were the managers then. And it was just before, you know, the Forum gig, about a month before we met Vinnie and I. You know, and we was fucking shit up, you know, and we changed the set completely again. You know, it was more melodic, you know, a lot more musical, because we usually, like we're doing now. It's funny, really, looking at it. We just started playing like heavy rock, but not just doing the static rock where the band's just standing about. More than like the stuff what we're doing now, you know, running about like lunatics and fucking about.
Yeah!
That's all we changed for, you know.
Yeah.
The money, because couldn't get any gigs,
Yeah.
you know, with long hair. You know, like we were playing punk at the Royal College of Art, and we played there. But we all had long hair, you see.
Yeah.
And the punk rock was going, no,
Right.
it's not punk that, it's heavy rock.
Right.
But it was punk rock, you know.
Yeah.
We were just playing 3 chords. Because we saw, after we played the Oaks, we played a heavy rock set. We thought, fuck this. And the next, well, 2 nights later we were playing College of Art, and so we thought, fuck all what we've done, we're just going to jam, right? Just let Vinny start off, just all in.
No, we usually do it in the afternoon, right, 3 songs. No, let's have a bit of honesty about this. When we get a gig, we usually get together about 3 days before the gig and say, look, we've only got 5 songs, which happened, didn't it, for the first Roxy gig. So then we said, all right, we're gonna have to write a few more songs. So we all got together for an afternoon and wrote another 4 songs or something like that. I mean, we had no rehearsal for them, just went out and did them.
So when you smashing out these chords, I was like, that right, yeah, that's something.
Well, when we were in Piccadilly Studios to do that tape, he was still writing the last verse, and I was still getting the middle bit. Yeah, that was punk.
Well, like the superstar touch, all I want is a £5 in our pocket for like every week. Every night.
Well, I'm in the super manager touch, so I don't want £5 in your pocket.
Mr. Phone wants a plane.
How are you managing to money at the moment? On the dole?
That's it.
No, yeah, they're on the dole. 3 of them are on the dole, and they're all going off after Monday when they've been on Granada Ports.
To the telly and 6 million viewers.
Well, we've got to go around and make up now, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'm not going to spell my head, don't I? So all my girlfriends are watching. Do you want me to sit
You're
down?
not in it? Are you?
Yeah, I'm in it.
All right.
Can you want one nutter each so we can answer?
No, pretty anyhow. Even if they don't look it.
Pretty boy. Pretty boy.
He is fine.
Don't you worry.
You filming that nice bird up with, you know?
So you've got my drink. Come on, don't be tea. Where you going? What? I've got yours a tea. Come on, let me tell you. It was there, there's one. No. Where are you going? Just get me shaver, that's all. Go and tell.
No. Don't be fair, don't. You know what he's like. You've got someone to watch him. He goes a bit mad. I'll never find a way back. Did you find the Christmas?
Next one, please.
Go on, Moby.
Lou,
Have you got anything you could stick a pair of sunglasses on with, so they won't fall off when he was playing the drums?
Hey.
And my film start now.
Good, we'll give you about 2 minutes, all right? 1 minute 45 towards 2, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously we'll do music school, right? But the question is, do you want the classical music at the start? Do you need that?
Well, if we've only got that short number of
That's the
time,
problem.
it's not worth it,
Yes,
is
I
it?
know. So I mean, you've got to work out what you're going to cut out.
Just another different show as well.
Well, we'll cut that.
So you want to get it down to 2 minutes?
That's what I want to get it down to. That's the problem. I mean, if you don't, I mean, everybody does it, but you know. The other thing is,
Shut up a minute.
you do a thing where you go into a reggae number at the end, don't you?
Not a reggae number, it's like a...
What do you go into at the
It's,
end? I mean,
it's
I've heard of
jazzy,
that.
man.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that's one, you're liking it, isn't it?
The slow
Oh, you
bit.
mean the...
Yeah, it's Yeah.
It's a pity we can't go into a strange thing just right at the end, just to surprise the audience and stuff. You know?
Well, we were thinking of going into a strange thing at the beginning.
We'll do a strange thing at the beginning. That's fine. As long as it's about 2 minutes in total. I'll try and use as much space as we can. I mean,
Yeah, because what I've got to dive about and get the mic stand swinging.
Where's he going to hey? You haven't heard me sing, mate.
We did about the negative strumming now, but we won't say anything about that.
Well, that's a good band, man, good band. Are we going to find room for it to move around and jump?
Well, I mean, all there is
Can't he run over to you, though?
Just thinking about your desk, Tony.
Can't we
Jumping
run
on
over
top
to
of
you?
it.
And then sort of say, when he goes, you think you did, I know it sounds a bit personal, but sing that right.
Anything you want. What you have to do is, we'll work it out in rehearsal. Because you have to do what you're going to do that on the night in rehearsal, so the cameras know where to go with you. Live, yeah. So it's not live, we record.
No, I'm sure we let you go live.
The rehearsal between 3 and 4, between 2 and 3, and 3 and 4 we take it.
Sounding.
I'll sort it out when we get in there. All right. If you can work it out into a 2-minute version.
Alright, so the problem, what's the...
Well, there's all sorts of problems. I mean, the decision's not mine. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd say yes. But I mean,
Will you leave it as it is at the moment
I
then?
can't. I mean,
Well, if it's not your decision.
No, I mean, if the guy's got his job to do, he's got his job to do, right? It's done.
No,
You just can't, I mean, you just have to film here.
Yeah, but I can't see what the problem is now.
Well,
Well, it's not your problem to see anyway, so you can shut up for a start. That's out of it. Okay, done. Go. Right, the problem's between us three. Right. Now, what can we do, Bob?
No, but I mean, there was a thing between us, lot. I mean, and if you could have had film of this, it would have been even better. Where we sat there and said, in a situation where there's other people about, right, that aren't to do with the band, right. If someone starts crossing us, and then we start getting at cross purposes, the only thing to do is for one to carry on his argument, and even if that one's wrong, later on when there's just the band there, to turn around and say, you damn cunt, you shouldn't have done that. But at least you're not making yourself look a cunt in front of the people who you're sort of arguing with, you know, where you're all arguing different arguments. And that's what everyone agreed on. You know, there was a meeting where everyone agreed on that, you know, whatever happens, if we're ever in front of someone, like, say Wilson or something, we just say, you know, one does the arguing. You know, and the one usually was me because I was a manager, you know, it was nothing to do with them.
We're ending our first new What's On back with one of our better, high-quality new wave bands. These are called Wild Round, a fine rock band. They're now called Banger and The NoseBleeds. This is their single, available on local records, called 18 to No Music School.
You can actually hear the words of it, they've mixed it that way. You saw it at the start, there he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Banger, if I got my microphone on, Banger and The NoseBleeds. Doing the Rock Against Racism tour, Cats and Soon. That line about, you think you're it was written about friends of mine, so I'll take the blame. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Next question.
What's the music school song about?
Sad
There
Cafe.
ain't been no music
It's
school, man.
inverted snobism.
The first time we played at the Oaks, Sad Cafe said we couldn't play. So we showed
No, they
him.
didn't.
They did.
Sorry.
They did. So we told them we could play, and he just, he went away thinking they could play, we couldn't. If you can't, if they could play, well, they can.
Well, they can play.
They can play.
Don't mix your words, Peter.
Quiet in the stalls. We've had a few fights though. That's it.
I mean, they can say all they want, and they do actually think all this, but I mean, from my point of view, the point of using an independent label is to, as a sort of promotional company, to sort of set yourself up with a record company, with a major recording deal. I mean, if you can ship 5,000 singles, well, obviously, a recording company's got to turn around to you and say, well, this is selling something, it's selling power without any sort of promotion at all. And it can't be all to collector's items, I mean, just...
This one's a new one. So if we laugh, like, just called up tight.
You want more of what though? What is shouting? Nosebleeds?
You're just fucking shouting, man, you know what I mean?
Get back on it, what? Should we go on?
Music school, this is our new single, won't you fucking buy it? It's not anarchy, but let's fucking have it. Go on. Get out then, quick, man, hurry up. So he's shouting Nosebleeds. Oh, come on! Toby! Give me loads of yam. Jocko, go with Toby. Come on, go with Toby.
What attracted you to it?
I thought I'd make a lot more money in managing than sort of training to be than being a social worker, what I trained to be. I'm a band myself, and so I thought to myself, well, you know, I learned how hard it was for us. It was more interesting trying to sort of hustle your way around, if you like, you know, and sort of set things up and find gigs and, you know, get posters together and silly things like that than it was actually playing in the band. For me, anyway, I enjoyed all the sort of organising side of it more than I did actually sort of singing with the band.
Explain the finances behind the record. I mean, how much did it cost you to do it?
Well, I don't exactly know how much. I went to Tosh and I said, look, I've got the Nosebleeds tape. I paid for the Nosebleed to go in the studio and do this, and so you know, we've got a tape here that could be cut as a single. What do you think? And Tosh said, oh, I don't know. And then I just had to keep blagging him all the time and say, oh, you know, give us a break when you give the dogs a break, that sort of thing. I just had to say that. And then in the end, Tosh said, well, what do you think, Lawrence? And by this time, I'd been taking Lawrence for drinks and saying, all right, Lawrence, at Rafters, or wherever it was at the time, the Oaks, and, you know, we'd had a good laugh. And he said, okay then, yeah, great, we'll put it out. So they put it out with, you know, the only sort of, there was nothing signed or anything. The only thing we said was that in, we'd get 50% of every, no, we get 60, right? 60% of all profits made on the single, and that in 6 months after the single's release, right, we'd all sit down together and look at the accounts and see what had been made and what had been spent, and that hasn't come up yet. It comes up in about a week or so.
But somebody actually been keeping accounts?
Oh yeah, it's all been kept, and
who's been doing it?
Lawrence, because Lawrence runs Raven more or less.
Have you got any money back off the record?
No, that's it.
No?
Tosh reckons we won't get anything off it anyhow, you know.
Why's that? Well, you've made, how many copies did you make?
So he says, because he says he wasn't not going to get anything. You know, full stop.
How many copies did he move?
I'm not sure. He needs to keep saying 10,000, but there's about 2,000 that Tosh used to. And there's others hanging about the house somewhere, you know, so that could have been bullshit and again. So the single, you know, there's no money off the single. And we used to make as a profit about £25 off gig, and we take a £5 each. And the rest of the band had no argument with me, you know, Toby, Pete, or Vinny didn't really have an argument about money, so it was just Eddie's way of trying to sort of tell me he didn't want to work with me, but he couldn't, you know, he's not straight enough to be able to come up to me and say straight out, look, Vinny, I don't, you know.
Well, I mean, was the band only going out for 25?
No, that's what we made after paying out about £45 for a PA, about £15 for the roadies. The only reason we needed roadies and things like that, well, we could have done with one roadie, like, you know, a lad who could drive and that.
And do the electrics.
Yeah, but because of Eddie being, well, you've seen filming what it's like, at many a time it could have gone off pretty bad.
Did you have when people were gobbing on you?
Well, at first I just accepted it, you know, but after a bit you get aggravated with it. by night the punk rockers and by day at work and fucking somebody else, you know. That's the ones I don't like, you know. I've got to be like this, because I play in a band, I've got to look different, I've got to look a cunt. That's right, isn't it? You've got to be different.
Does that get you into bother that?
Oh, you're walking down the street, you know, you always get a punk rocker and I just go, fuck off, go away, don't bother me. And if you start chasing me, I can always run ahead.
Are you into scrapping yourself? I mean, if you...
Not really, but it takes a lot to get me going, you know. But when I do go off, I'm never on my own anyway, you know. There's always the boys, and Vinny's a rough cunt, you know, Vinny Farrell. So if there is any bother, you know, we've always got Vinny's there, you know, just handy lad. And Pete. We got a bad review in Sound saying that we're a violent band, because was this hippie came to the front of the stage, you know, it's packed out. And he was fucking shouting and shouting his mouth out. You always get the big mouth ones anyway, the kids. And Eddie says, come to the front if you want to say out, you know. He comes to the front, Eddie, Mike stand right in his face. Went, fucking hell. All off the stage we were kicking away. Good, we went down team-handed anyway, you know, all the lads like, big fight at the front. But after that, the audience love it. They love the violence, you know, the punk rockers. Couldn't believe it, but we're there, you know, with us. Because it was pretty dead up to we started, you know, fighting. Played about 3 songs, you know, it's just that. And after the violence, fucking there at the front. Unbelievable. I'm sure, you know, you always get hecklers at gigs, but everyone seems to heckle, you know. They're all heckling. They're heckling each other and like, fuck off, you know. I don't like punk rockers personally, I fucking hate them, you know. Don't like them.
It was a good laugh for us. When we got there, there was a crate of beer waiting for us, and we didn't have to lift a finger. Just get pissed and go on stage, and it was a lot, you know, sort of nice little starship for us at the time. We weren't bothered, but we was getting ripped off at it. We did it a good way.
Why did it take so long to wise up to them? It was just an experience.
Because we was having a good time with it, we weren't arsed, we weren't thinking about it, you know. Just getting carried along in the general sort of atmosphere and everything. We had a lot of hopes, you know, after Granada. I thought, well, television break and all that, we thought, well, we might get something out of it, and there was nothing sort of, we was waiting for something to come along, and nothing did. So I think we got a bit niddly with each other and started, you know, getting aggravated, and we started having personality clashes in the band, and that's what it all started from, you know.
Calls were coming in, I was telling, you said you weren't going to interfere or say anything in this. No, the phone calls are coming in, I was saying to Toby and Pete, well, you know, the phone calls are coming in and I'm not in and leaving and everything, and, you know, I'm telling you now that I'm not doing as much as I could be, or I should be, you know. But, I mean, by that time Eddie had been saying things, you know, about the money, and if you're working with a team that are your mates and you've known for, what, 3 or 4 years as mates, and you go out with them as mates, and things like that, I said, well, what, you know, whatever, you just demoralised or what, you know, you just can't do anything.
You don't seem the time that gets very easily demoralised.
No, I wouldn't, I mean, if I came to you and said, look lads, do you fancy doing this film? And you shut the door in my face, I could still knock on the door and say, but lads, but I mean, if it's the people you're working with and the people you want to get on with that are part of you more or less, you know, I mean, that's honest that, I mean, part of what you've been doing for the last 3 years, say to you things like, you know, you've been ripping us off for money, and I'm like, you know, fuck it, it's not on that at all. That can't have that, mate. I can't wear anything like that. I'm dead loyal, me, because me and Eddie are two alike, and if me and Eddie could have got it together and worked together, our sort of combined forces, it'd be too much for anyone to handle, and we would have done really well. I think, you know, I think we would have really got on, but instead we clashed, and so we had a lot, you know, of arguments, and Eddie was going on about all this money that the Nosebleeds had that I was ripping off.
There was one final gig in London we did, which was complete, you know.
Yeah.
After that, we did it for about 180. We didn't get a penny out of it, you know. Vinnie Fowles says we lost everything on it, and then he asked us for £50. Well, asked me for £50, you know. So that was just it. I said, right, fuck it, fuck off. What we're doing it for? And the gig was at Bummy anyhow, you know. There was about 30 people there, no publicity for it, and nothing. So that was the end.
I put a fair amount of money into it, and as well as all the lads have, you know. But I mean, money-wise, Eddie was always seemed to be skint when anything had to be paid out. You know what I mean?
Knowing full well he had a load of money in the bank.
Yeah, well he did, didn't he? I mean, we found that out later on that we'd paid. Between me and Crooks, we paid something out once, and then and Toby and Vinny had give what they had, and Eddie said he had no money, so we carried Eddie through it, and then was it you who found his bank book or something in the car, and he had 180 quid in the bank, you know, and we was, you know, well sick about that.
But yeah, the very expenses back, they've gone. We didn't even see them. They've gone on Vinnie Fowles' phone bill. Yeah. Also on call phone bill, about 3 in a month. Strangler's phone, oh yeah. Great. You know what I mean? Really stupid. They phone up a little poxy band, you know.
Strangler's phoned here, Strangler's management phoned here and asked me could he organise the drones posters because they'd phoned the drones and the drones weren't doing much about it, and would I sort it out for them? You know, so I mean that's a good position to be in if they think you're, you know, you're reasonable. Just before Granada, I started thinking, oh, well, you know, I'm giving this up as a bad job, you know what I mean? I'm not doing any more than about. I'll wait till it splits up, and then if I can still keep hold of Toby and Pete, I'll carry on then. Or maybe work with this other kid I've got now, or whatever, you know. Or look for another avenue, like going down London and working for somebody down there. We're not bothered about up north. I mean, yeah, things happening, you know, it doesn't matter because you've got to get down, when you go down London, it's got to be precise, you know what I mean? And I've been to, must have been to about 150 gigs in London, and I've seen all the major bands and everything. So you use the north as a training ground, really, for going down London, where the press are, and doing all the right things.
Just madness, just a good time for most of the kids, you know, and so the record companies made a lot of money out of it, and a few of the bands have. But a lot of people got ripped off, a lot of young kids out of it, a lot of young bands being ripped off along the way.
What do you think you've learned from it?
Quite a lot about, you know, sort of the rip-offs, isn't it, and the sort of people, bullshitters and all this sort of thing would come across, things like that, you know. plus how to sort of go about acting on stage, you know, and what you can get away with and what you can't, and what does look good and what doesn't, sort of thing, you know, and what to say if to go over the top or not, you know. Don't rattle on too long like he used to, sort of screaming and swearing at everyone at first, you know. And I sort of cool down so I can think about now. I don't want to go on that or I know what I'm doing. I won't be doing any lunacy like I used to.
No, the future's rosy for the new nosebleeds.
I asked about making it, I want to, but if I don't, I can always say to myself when I'm about 35 that I've had a good go at it, and if I've shit it up, I've shit it up and it's my own fault.
I don't agree with that at all. I mean, you never stop till you get what you want, do you? Especially in this business, once you're in, you can't get out. That's what it's all about.
Right, lads. Now, what's happened is a load of orchestras coming in with us.
I go.
There's no business like a show.